Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. I wanted to jump on here real quick and just walk through our newest feature that involves something people have been asking for a while. So, if you are familiar with Smartbuild, you know you can have your own doors and windows, and you can set them up according to what they need to look like according to your brand. So, one thing that's came up over the years is, well, we need to be able to change the color of those doors very quickly and easily to show the customer, what that looks like in case they want to upgrade to a different color. So there's a couple parts and pieces that are involved to make this all happen. And I'm going to start out with, okay, so we just saw the door and window color there change. So you see how that happens. But I'm going to start out with the framing rules. So this is part one. And we're just renaming one of the framing rule accent colors. So if you go into your settings, you go into framing rules, this is where you can change this. And this is just this is one step that makes it easier to use, makes it easier to understand for your salespeople. So we go into the main building tab and we go down to, we should see accent colors 1 through 3 and 4. And I already changed this one. So to walk through how this happens, you click on the green E and you can rename this. You can name it whatever you want. Maybe it's just window door color, just so you know what it means. And that is going to be what controls these interactive doors and windows that actually change. So step one, we need to name this to where we understand what it means, and go ahead and save that. So after that's done, you can save, and at that point we're done in the setup part of the framing rules. So the next part is, if we look at these examples here, so we have some doors and windows that we're showing. And again, my framing rule, after I update it, it's going to show it in the model in the main building tab. It's going to show the question as I set it up. And I can toggle through, pick different colors. I could even change it to blue. So one thing that you have to keep in mind is these colors are not filtered out in any way. So any color that you have on your color list is going to be available. So it's up to the user to know whether or not that color is really available, from that supplier. So I can easily pick any color, and it's going to refresh and re-render those doors and windows. So, okay, that's the first part. Now, what about how do I pick one of these interactive doors and windows? How do I make that all work? So for this part, we're going to jump into the doors and windows section. And this is found in settings. If you're an admin, you can go to doors and windows. And I'm starting out with the windows here. And I preset some of these up so you can see them. But I'm just using this window 01 CC. So if you are wondering, how do I find these windows that actually change colors? When you go in to edit these, and you can just double click on this, and it opens up our visualizer for Windows. And in the select 3D model button, you can search, and if you search for CC, and look, we have several models in there, and we'll be adding more over time. But if you look, there's several models in here that have a CC tagged on them. And that basically means they aren't really any color. They're going to be color controlled by that setting in the job. So if you look at this overhead door, it's micro rib CC. So if we go back, and if we were using that model, as soon as we change this setting, it would update and set that color to that. Now the thing to be careful about is the part number, and we'll talk about that next. So again, you can come in here, you can pick any door or window that you want. In this case, I have a double hung style window, and I want it to be interactive. So if I look for CC and I search here, these are all the CC models that we currently have. So I have a window 01 CC. And if you look at this description, you can span this out here, and you can see it's a vertical slider and it's color coded. So that just means it's going to be controlled by the interactive control. So I choose this one, select it, and then when that window comes in, it may or may not be the correct size. So if you're dealing with, you're wanting to load this in, when I brought that window in, it's really small here. You can see it right there. So when you first select that window and you bring it into that visualizer, I'm just going to pick this one and select it. It may come in at any size, and you don't really have control over what size it's going to come in, and it's way too large. So I just click fit, and if I zoom in here, you can see it fit it to that. So that will be the correct scale when it's in a model. And that's the actual window that we're looking at here. It's just a different size. It's the same model, and it's color controlled. So that's how that all works. Now the next part is, let's say that you do go ahead and you do set these up and you make your windows interactive. It's all fine. You can do that. The thing that you have to keep in mind is, when you're quoting this, it's up to you as a salesperson to add a window upcharge. So if we come into here and we choose a different color window, it is up to the salesperson to understand and know that when they're ordering this, this just says you may have your windows labeled as any color, and maybe the part number is just a special order part number. Because if this is a white window and we change the color, our part number does not change automatically. There's no way to tell this. If this turns into an order, there's no way to know if this is actually a white window, a bezel window, or any color window. So it's up to the user to do that. So if you're utilizing this feature, I would recommend setting your part numbers up where they're special order so that they can't be processed automatically. So if someone goes to your outputs and pulls a material list from a job, it doesn't try to order a white window in this case. Now, if I do use this feature, I can simply add a miscellaneous. So let's say that I reach out to my window supplier, or I just know that for an upgraded color, it's going to be $50 per window. And I could do this and just add, how many windows are there? Maybe there's 4 windows in the job. I just put a label on there and call it window upcharge. And usage, you can label that whatever you want. And at that point, maybe it's just SO window or a code that goes through on your order form. So when you save this, it applies this as a line item, which may also let your salespeople know, whoever's processing this order, let them know that, hey, I need to update my window color, and it'll stay right with the window. So again, that's the things you have to look out for. It's a great new feature. You can now just set up one window. You don't have to set up black windows, white windows, brown windows. You can just have one universal window, and when you're in the job, you can control it with this accent color wand that's renamed to whatever you want it to be. So in a few seconds, I can switch this, switch the color, and get any color window that I want. It's a really nice feature, and it also keeps your catalog count down. So instead of having 20 windows in 5 colors, which kind of explodes out into a lot of part numbers to maintain, now I can just do one window or one door and then control it with this. So we will be adding more color-coded windows and doors to our online catalog. If you have a certain model you want to see, let support know, and we'll try to get it in there. But that is how that works. So we don't actually set up the windows in your catalog in here. That's something that will help you do. But after you get the windows in your catalog, which is done in the setup wizard, if you need help on that, you can go to our implementation series and find the windows section and set up your windows. Then you can come back into here and refit and reselect and pick interactive models that we have available. So that's the first part. And that kind of wraps up the Smartbuild side of it. For anybody that's curious, well, how do we create these interactive windows? We'll jump into some advanced training here, and we utilize SketchUp for this. So if you have a window or door OBJ model, you can start out with the SketchUp model, and that's how most people start out with. You can, if you're utilizing SketchUp as your tool to build these out, again, that's the easiest. You can find some windows on the 3D warehouse. So if you download a window and you get it into SketchUp, it may look something like this. A couple things I want to note here. When you look at a window, we want to make sure that the axes are aligned correctly. So we want the green axis going out the back, the red going to the right, and the blue going up. Now, the other thing to note is the alignment is really critical. So if we look at this origin point, we have this window coming out of the wall a bit. If this were an overhead door, I would probably recess this back. So if you slide it along the green axis back, I would maybe recess it back like 5 inches, type in 5 and hit enter. So that if this is an overhead door, it would be recessed back into the frame. And if it's a window, I would maybe bring it up and have it coming out of the wall just a bit. Again, that's all little details that can make your 3D model look a lot better. So that's nice to set it up that way. And then getting to the color, and how do we make the color interactive, which is the main point of this. So when you go to your colors tray here, click on the eyedropper, and you want to select the color that you want to replace in the model. So if I click on this, it tells me it's white. Now, I just want to rename this, and I want to rename it Accent 1 Color with capital letters. So as soon as you do that, we can save this. We can save this file, and we can export it. Go to the export 3D model, and we just want to give it a name. And we'll just call this Window CC, so we know what it is, and it puts it into our downloads folder. So we go ahead and export that and hit OK. Now, when we come back to Smartbuild and to add this window as a choice, which I mentioned earlier that we put some pre-populated choices in there. To add it as a choice, you can come into here and click Select, and there's an add button here. So as soon as I add, I'm going to just call this window CC, just so we know what it is, color-coded window. So I do this, I can go to select upload, but in this case, it's not going to allow me to upload that OBJ file by itself. It has to be in a zip file. So if I open up my downloads folder here, we'll open it up here and I go to my downloads and find those two files. I want to put them in a zip file. So the easy way to do this is select the hold control and select both of these files, right click and compress to zip file. So just like that, we've created a zip file and now it's ready for Smartbuild to handle that. So I can go to upload here, back in Smartbuild, I go to upload, find that Windows zip file and upload it. So it will upload these files and I hit create. And just like that, now it's in my drop-down list as a choice. So if I would search for CC and search, it's going to be there. And these are all going to be at the bottom. The ones you create will be at the bottom. So you select that, hit select, and it's going to bring that window in. And that window may be scaled. You really don't know how it's going to be scaled. So when you bring it in, you want to click fit. And when you fit it, it's going to place it in that opening. So those are the two steps that are critical. And then when you save this, click save, and go back into a job, then this part should work. The color part should work. So again, that's a little more advanced training in SketchUp, but for the most part, we can help you do these more advanced setups, but the main thing to understand is we do have a catalog in there. You shouldn't have to create your own. If you just go into select a model, search for CC, and you can look at all the color-coded models that we have, which is going to keep expanding. So again, that wraps up the training of interactive doors and windows. Again, this is just a new feature we released. Hope you guys like it and give us feedback. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care.